Ever missed a gear, heard that horrible grinding noise coming from your transmission, and immediately pretended it wasn't you? Relax. Keep all that. But you know what's worse than making that sound? Not understanding why it happened. Keep driving around with no idea what's going on under your hood every time you press or release that left pedal. Well, today, that changed. Because in this video, I'm going to explain everything about the clutch. From scratch. No fluff. No dry owner's manual nobody actually reads. And none of those 5-minute explanations that leave you more confused than when you started. We're going to cover what the clutch is, how it works on the inside, why it wears out, what are the most common mistakes that destroy this thing way before it's time, what those mistakes cost you in real dollars, and what you can do starting today to make your clutch last a whole lot longer. So, if you drive a stick shift, if you're thinking about buying one, or if you just want to actually understand what happens every time you push that pedal, stick around. Every second of this is worth it. Let's start from the very beginning. Picture this. You're at a BBQ joint, one of those old-school Texas-style spots in Austin where they've been smoking brisket since before you were born. The server's carrying a massive tray loaded with food and needs to walk it from the kitchen all the way to your table. If he sprints out of the kitchen at full speed with everything stacked up, he's dropping everything. He needs a transition moment, a balance point where he adjusts his stride, distributes the weight, and then moves forward. The clutch is exactly that transition moment between your engine and your wheels. Your car's engine, whether it's a little 4-cylinder in a Honda Civic or the V8 in an F-150, operates within a specific RPM range. It spins, it makes power, and that power needs to reach the wheels in a controlled way. But your wheels are sometimes stopped, sometimes barely moving, sometimes you need to shift gears. You can't just bolt the engine directly to the wheels with nothing in between. The shock would be brutal. The engine would stall every single time the car tried to move. It would be completely undriveable. The clutch solves that problem. It's the smart middleman that connects and disconnects the engine from the transmission smoothly, in a controlled way, at exactly the moment you decide. Now, let's crack this thing open and see what's inside. A manual car's clutch system has basically 3 main components. I say basically because there are smaller parts in the assembly, but to understand how it works, these 3 are the heart of the system. The first is the flywheel. Don't confuse this with the steering wheel you hold. The flywheel is a heavy, circular cast iron disc bolted directly to the crankshaft. The crankshaft is the main shaft that converts the piston's up and down motion into rotation. So, as long as the engine is running, the flywheel is spinning, always, non-stop. The second component is the clutch disc. This is the guy doing the dirty work. It sits between the flywheel and the third piece. It's connected to the input shaft of the transmission. The engine's power has to pass through it to reach the gearbox and then the wheels. The clutch disc has friction material on both faces, similar to brake pad material. That material is what allows smooth contact with the flywheel. And it's exactly that material that wears down over time and used. The third component is the pressure plate. It's bolted directly to the flywheel, which means it spins with the flywheel at all times. Inside it is a diaphragm spring, a disc-shaped spring with radial cuts in the center. That spring is responsible for pressing the clutch disc against the flywheel with force. When all 3 are in contact, disc squeeze between flywheel and pressure plate, engine power flows into the transmission. The car moves. When you press the clutch pedal, a component called the throwout bearing pushes against the center of the diaphragm spring. It flexes, bends inward, and stops pressing on the disc. The disc releases. Engine and transmission are separated. You can shift gears, you can stop the car without stalling, you can do whatever you need. Let go of the pedal. The spring returns to its original position, presses the disc back in, and engine power flows again. Pure mechanics. Elegant, simple in theory, demanding in practice. And it's in practice where most drivers run into trouble. You know, that person who learned to drive in their parents' driveway. The car lurching forward in fits and starts while the whole family watched from the front window. Yep. The stall happens for a very specific reason, and understanding that reason is key to understanding the clutch. When the engine is running and the car is stopped, the flywheel is spinning at idle, maybe 700 or 800 RPM. The clutch disc, meanwhile, is stationary, along with the wheels. 0 RPM. If you release the clutch pedal all at once, you're forcing immediate contact between a fast-spinning flywheel and a stationary disc. The speed difference is massive. The result is one of two things. Either the engine stalls because it got braked too abruptly, or the car lurches violently forward because all the engine's power was dumped into the wheels at once. The friction zone exists exactly to solve this. The friction zone is that sweet spot where you release the pedal slowly and the disc begins to lightly rub against the flywheel before fully gripping. It's controlled friction. The disc gradually starts spinning, speeds start equalizing, and when they're close enough, you finish the movement and the engagement is smooth. It's a skill that seems simple but takes time to become second nature. Every car has a different friction zone. Some are higher in the pedal travel. Some are lower. An experienced driver feels it within the first few presses in an unfamiliar car. And speaking of feeling things, there are some sensations you should never ignore. The first is a burning smell. That specific smell of hot rubber mixed with friction, it's unmistakable. If you smelled it after a tough maneuver, a heavy hill start, parallel parking on a steep San Francisco street, trying to get out of a tight downtown Chicago parking garage, it's because the clutch was slipping too long. The friction material on the disc overheated. Once in a while, fine. It's part of learning. But if it happens regularly, you're burning through your clutch way faster than you should be. The second warning sign is clutch slipping during normal driving. You're in fifth gear. You hit the gas to pass someone on the highway. The RPMs climb, but the car doesn't accelerate in proportion. Feels like the engine is working, but the power isn't fully reaching the wheels. That's clutch slip. The disc can no longer grip the flywheel firmly because the friction material is worn out. At that point, a replacement is inevitable and urgent. Keep driving like that, and you'll accelerate the wear even more and potentially damage the flywheel and pressure plate, which are way more expensive than the disc alone. And speaking of cost, let's be straight here, because that's what matters when you're standing at the service counter. Clutch life varies a lot, depending on your driving style. In heavy city use, like stop-and-go traffic on I-95 in Miami or bumper-to-bumper on the 405 in LA, where you're stopping and launching every 100 yards, a clutch can last anywhere from 50,000 to 80,000 miles with moderate use. On the highway, that number can stretch to 100,000 miles or more, but a driver with bad habits can destroy a clutch in 25,000 miles or less. What are those bad habits? Let's go through each one, because each one is a dollar bill flying out of your wallet. The first is resting your foot on the clutch pedal. Seems harmless, but keeping your foot lightly resting on the clutch pedal while you drive creates minimal pressure on the throwout bearing. That makes the bearing work constantly instead of only when needed. It can also create residual pressure on the disc, making it lightly rub against the flywheel even when it shouldn't. Silent, continuous wear. The second bad habit is using the clutch as a hill brake. You know, when you're waiting at a red light on a hill and you're modulating the clutch so the car doesn't roll backward. Feels like you're in control, right? Yeah. What you're actually doing is keeping the disc in constant friction against the flywheel without full engagement. That's the perfect recipe for burning through your friction material fast. The correct move is simple. Use the parking brake to hold the car on the hill. Your parking brake costs nothing extra to use. A new clutch does. The third bad habit is not completing the gear shift. Some people take their hand off the shifter way too slowly, like they're waiting for the universe to confirm the gear went in. During that time, the car is in neutral with the pedal release. No apparent problem. But if the car ends up in the wrong gear by mistake, or the pedal is released before full engagement, you've got another case of lurching and unnecessary wear. The fourth habit, and this one's worse, is overusing the friction zone and maneuvers that could be done another way. Parallel parking, maneuvering in a tight parking lot, squeezing out of a tight spot. In all of these situations, a lot of drivers stay in the friction zone for way too long. The right move is to complete the maneuver, stop the car completely if needed, and use the brake as your ally. Now, let me tell you something. That's going to change how you think about the relationship between the clutch and the engine. There's a concept that very few drivers know about called engine braking. When you're moving in any gear with your foot off the gas, the engine offers a natural resistance to the car's movement. That resistance slows the vehicle down without you needing to touch the brake. That's engine braking. It exists because, with the clutch engaged, the engine and wheels are connected. When the wheels try to spin faster than the engine can keep up with, the engine naturally brakes the wheels. When you press the clutch before braking, you disconnect engine and wheels. You lose engine braking. In normal street situations, this matters very little. But on long downhill stretches or in emergency braking situations, using engine braking alongside your regular brakes can make a real difference in stopping distance and vehicle control. And your brake pads and rotors wear down less when you use engine braking regularly. It's a benefit most drivers leave on the table just because they don't know about it. There's one more point that's worth getting into. The difference between a clutch in a regular passenger car versus a heavy-duty vehicle. In semi-trucks, big rigs, and commercial vehicles, the clutch follows the same basic principle, but the dimensions and durability are completely different. The disc is bigger, the pressure plate is heavier, the diaphragm spring is way stronger. That's because the torque coming out of a semi's engine is dozens of times greater than in a passenger car. In older trucks, pressing the clutch pedal takes serious leg strength. A long-haul truck driver who works a city route with constant stops has a pretty well-developed left leg after years on the job. That's not an exaggeration. In newer models, hydraulic or assisted systems help with that operation, cutting down the effort needed. But the principle is the same as always. And speaking of modern things, modern automatic cars eliminated the clutch pedal from the driver's equation, but that doesn't mean the clutch stopped existing. It just became invisible. In automatics, with dual clutch transmissions, like the ones in a Volkswagen GTI, or a Ford Focus Street, there are actually two clutches working alternately in an automated way. While one is engaged in one gear, the other is already preloaded with the next gear ready to go. The shift is nearly instant. It's sophisticated technology, using the exact same basic principles you just learned here, only executed by electronic and hydraulic actuators instead of your left foot. But that's a story for another video. For today, here's what you need to lock in. The clutch is a controlled friction system. It connects and disconnects the engine and transmission using contact between the clutch disc and the flywheel. The diaphragm spring inside the pressure plate is what maintains that contact. The clutch pedal, when pressed, flexes that spring and releases the disc. The friction zone is the transition window where the disc starts rubbing against the flywheel before full contact. It's the most important skill for a stick shift driver. The enemies of the clutch are unnecessary foot on the pedal, using it as a hill brake, and spending too long in the friction zone during extended maneuvers. And the signs of a worn clutch are burning, smell, slipping during acceleration, and a pedal that has to come up higher before it catches. Take care of those details and your clutch will take you a whole lot further. If this video was useful to you, hit the like button right now. It costs you nothing, and it helps the channel keep putting out this kind of detailed, no BS explanation. If you're not subscribed yet, subscribe now and hit the bell so you don't miss the next ones. And drop a comment below. What was your biggest clutch mistake? Dumped it too fast when you were learning? Burned it on a hill? Got stuck trying to get out of a tight parking structure in downtown LA? Tell us in the comments. We learn together. And at least, you'll see you weren't alone in this. In the next videos, we're going deep inside the manual transmission, how the gears actually work in there, and we'll break down why shifting wrong can cost you big money in the long run. Stay tuned. See you then.